I'm gonna tell you something right now. You are a genius. Right now, you have the same qualities that anyone who's ever been considered to be a genius, all the greats, everyone who's accomplished something amazing and been considered, wow, that person was a total genius. You have those traits in you right now. That's what I'm telling you. I'm telling you that you are a genius. But as I tell you that, I know something. I know that you don't believe me, do you? And I'm not going to try to get you to believe me. You see, a course has been developed based off of research in every successful genius, what qualities they had in common. And that's the course called the 24 Characteristics of Genius. And that course is going to show you how to become aware of those characteristics, how to understand them, and how to competently utilize them so that you are achieving what you want to achieve in life. Again, I'm not asking you to believe me right now. I actually want to show you. I want to take you through some of these steps, okay? So the first characteristic that all geniuses have in common, and that you have right now, is drive. That is a fundamentally important characteristic, and it's one that you need to start with when you're developing the rest of the characteristics that enable you to actually operate on a genius level. Geniuses have a strong desire to work hard and long. They're willing to give all they've got to a project. Develop your drive by focusing on your future success and keep going. Now, right now, I'm going to ask you to do something so that you can see that you already have drive right now. So I want you to think about something that is occurring in your life right now, that's constantly occurring. It's happening almost on a daily basis. It might be good, it might be something bad, doesn't matter. Just want you to think of something that's been occurring, okay? Now, I want you to think about how much you have been focusing on that thing occurring. You see what I mean? Develop your drive by focusing on your future success and keep going. Now that's a very positive statement right there. But you might not be applying it that way. If there's something dramatic happening in your life, if you've got drama happening right now, think just for a minute about how much you are thinking about that drama right now. That's where your focus is on. And guess what? That's what you're getting. That's what you're driving towards. You see, you have this characteristic. You're always doing it. You're either driving towards something that maybe you don't want, or you're driving towards something that you do want. So this gives you the key of where to drive towards what you do want. You need to focus on that future success. You see, if you just switch the focus onto something successful and maintain that focus, despite the other things that are going to happen after that, you will have drive. That's how to do it. You see that? And that's the important part about drive, is what are you driving towards? This is where goals and purposes come in. It is fundamentally important that you have a goal and a purpose established as you're gaining the rest of these characteristics. That's the starting point, because it tells you what you're driving towards, okay? Now, this is where it gets awesome, when you start applying the rest of the characteristics. And this is how you're gonna see how you're gonna be able to start applying this to what you want. So think just for a minute here. Think of a goal, or even think of a past goal that you've had, some purpose that you've had. Now, what often happens after you start thinking of a goal, or you start telling other people about some cool idea, some good purpose that you have? I'll tell you, something that often happens, even amongst friends and family, is they tell you how it can't be done, how it's impossible, or how maybe you should do something else. This happens constantly, especially when you start communicating about your goals and purposes. This is where the next characteristic comes in, courage. It takes courage to do things others consider impossible. Stop worrying what people will think if you are different. You see, this is how to maintain that goal. This is how to maintain your drive. You have to have courage. You have to be willing to not listen, even if it seems logical, even if it's someone that you love. You have to be willing not to listen to the impossibles. Because as soon as you do, what happens? Your focus now goes on to what is considered impossible. So now instead of focusing on your future success, you're focusing on what's impossible. And what does that equal? Not accomplishing your goal. You see? So let's say you've now been able to bypass that. You've been able to overcome the impossibles. You're driven and you're staying driven and you have the courage. What do you need to do next? Well, now you need to get something done. You actually need to get something done in relation to your goal. You can have the greatest goal and purpose you ever want. If you're not doing something, if you're not accomplishing something along that line, then it's not going to get done. Okay? That's where devotion to goals comes in, which is the next characteristic of being a genius. Geniuses know what they want and go after it. Get control of your life and schedule. Have something specific to accomplish each day. Okay? Now this gives you something very simple you can do. Your goal might be huge. It might not be something you're going to accomplish in the next hour, the next day, or even in the next year. And that's great. But if you're doing something to accomplish something towards that goal every single day, what's going to happen? Inevitably, you're eventually going to get to the achievement of that goal. But it has to be done every single day. And if you, again, going back to the fact that you, right now, have those same traits that every successful genius in the past has had, if you look at some of the successful geniuses of the past, you will see that they were applying this. Every day, they were working on that purpose, that new idea, that new invention, that new thing that was going to help a lot of people. Okay? Do you see that? So have something to accomplish each day. Get control of your life and schedule. Start targeting out what you're going to do to accomplish that goal. Wake up in the morning and just think, what is at least one thing today that I can accomplish that will get me closer to that goal that I have? Okay? So, here's the next thing. Now, on a daily basis, you start accomplishing things towards that goal. Maybe they're little things, maybe they're big things. Doesn't really matter. You're accomplishing things towards that goal. I'll tell you something that you're going to realize next. You're going to start to realize that you don't know everything you need to know in order to accomplish that goal. Which makes sense because if you already knew everything you need to know to accomplish that goal, the goal will probably be accomplished, right? So that's where knowledge comes in, which is the next genius characteristic. Knowledge. Geniuses continually accumulate information. Never go to sleep at night without having learned at least one new thing that day. Read and question people who know. Okay? You're accomplishing stuff, you're working at it, you're going to start realizing things that you don't know. Now's your opportunity. Start gaining knowledge. Start becoming better at it. Start enhancing that skill. Start looking towards people that have accomplished something either similar or maybe the same thing that you have wanted to accomplish. And start talking to them. Reach out to them. Read their books. Read their blogs. Find them. Get on the phone with them. Call them up. Doesn't matter who it is. Make an effort to give them a call. But start gaining more knowledge on it. And as you progress towards more achievements towards that goal, you're going to find that this is something that you'll constantly need. You're going to constantly need to gain more and more knowledge on it. Okay? Now, we're going to continue here because I'm going to show you how these relate. When you start gaining knowledge about a goal or some industry or some passion or some purpose that you have, you're going to start to realize something else. You're going to start to realize that maybe some of the things that you have set up in your life aren't contributing towards accomplishing that goal. And that's where honesty comes in. Geniuses are frank, forthright, and honest. Take the responsibility for things that go wrong. Be willing to admit, I goofed, and learn from your mistakes. You see, when you're gaining more knowledge, you're going to gain more understanding about how maybe some of the things right now aren't contributing towards that goal up here that you're driven towards. So you got to be honest with yourself. You can't just keep doing those things, or you can't keep allowing those things to occur. You have to admit, you know what, maybe this is a wrong thing for that goal, or maybe some activity is the wrong way of doing something, or you know what, I made a mistake. Instead of continuing that mistake, you're honest. You say, that was a mistake, and you move on. You see what I mean? Now, when you're honest, and I mean you're really getting honest, again, you're realizing that you might be making some mistakes, or you might have some kind of activity in your life that isn't very contributive towards that drive goal. Sometimes, when you get really honest with yourself, when you get real with yourself, you might get a little bit down on yourself. You might start thinking, oh man, there's so many things right now that are involved in my life or that involved in my daily activities that aren't quite aligned to what my actual purpose is, okay? That's why the next characteristic is optimism. Geniuses never doubt they will succeed. Deliberately focus your mind on something good coming up. You gotta stay positive on this. No one said being a genius is gonna be the most easiest thing in the world. You know, you can look back at goals that you actually have accomplished. I bet you anything, some of the best ones were the ones that you had to work the hardest on, okay? So it's really important that you stay optimistic upon your path towards whatever goal, purpose, or passion that you have, okay? Right there, do you see? They relate to each other and they're applicable. This is why people are geniuses. They're not geniuses just because they're smart. That's kind of a current definition that's going out there of the word genius, or someone who is a genius is just someone with a high intellect. If you actually look at the original meaning of genius, they were traits that were innate and inborn within all of us. And in studying geniuses, you'll see that every genius has each one of these characteristics. And it was these characteristics that made them known as a genius because they did something successful in their lives. Now, people that you know that are geniuses or people that you know of that were geniuses in the past, they might have had other characteristics as well. But that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about these characteristics. These are the ones that made them known as being a genius. So what this course does is it gets you to focus on these specific traits so that you can bring them out and that you actually know how to put them into use. This is the first time a course like this has existed. I often call this course the course for all other courses. And let me tell you why. If you're like me, you probably, in your computer right now or at home on your bookshelf, you probably have several other courses. Some are specific, some might be general. You probably have courses on online marketing, you have courses on how to create a business, you have courses on entrepreneurship, you have courses on, I don't know, anything, how to start a professional racing company, I don't know, whatever it is. You have courses, okay? I've spent thousands of dollars on courses. And the one thing that I've noticed in doing some of these courses is I see a lot of these success stories from people that have done these courses, especially in the entrepreneur or the business realm. You see these people and they've taken this course or they've gone to this seminar and then they're super successful, they created their business, they did all this kind of stuff. And then, you know, I sit down, I do the course and I'm trying to go through the motions of it and I find, wow, I'm like kind of struggling with this. You know, I'm not quite going through the same level of success as some of these other guys that I've seen. So the thing that I found though is that when I did this course, it put me in the right frame of mind. It gave me the right attitude and it gave me the right tools to actually put those other courses into use. And they're amazing courses. But the thing is if you're not going in with the right frame of mind, and if you don't know the tools behind success, the characteristics themselves that make success, or if you're applying some other types of characteristics that you have that don't equal success, well then it doesn't really matter what else you're studying. You're basically gonna have some barriers up against you on that. You see what I mean? So this course is the course for other courses. You do this course, you're gonna start finding that other pieces of education that you've taken are gonna actually start becoming more applicable to you, and you're gonna be able to start utilizing them better to your own success because you're gonna have these characteristics in. You're gonna be operating at a genius level because you're using these characteristics, not because you're just magically smart, but because you're using these specific characteristics. It doesn't have to be complicated. Just because you're a genius doesn't mean that it's complicated or above your head. It's actually simple. You just need to know which characteristics to use. And that is what this course, the 24 Characteristics of Successful Geniuses, does. Now, the course is actually brought to you and was put together by serial entrepreneur Bob Duggan, who has had many successful businesses and has had businesses that he's taken to multi-million-dollar companies and even multi-billion-dollar companies. And it's this course and it's these 24 characteristics of geniuses that he uses as one of his primary tools in his endeavors with anything. And that's a great example of how when you use these, we all have them, you can gain that success. All right, I'm gonna read you some success stories from people that are either on or have done the course. I'm a firefighter and I have the courage to run into burning buildings. Yet I didn't have the courage to attack the problems of life with the same ferociousness as a fully engulfed house. My biggest obstacle is my own mindset. Grateful for this course already. That's awesome. Here's another one. The word innately really caused me to look at things in a different way. I realized that on many of these characteristics, I had been operating as a genius and it validated that for me. It is a game changer. These are just some of the successes that we have from doing the course. Look, you can get this course right now. We have it at a limited time offer for $199. If you just go to geniusinc.com right now, you can buy the course $199 and start it today, and you're gonna become aware of the characteristics that make people successful. These are those characteristics, and that is what people consider to be genius. You're gonna become aware of them, you're gonna understand them, and you'll be able to utilize them in your life. If you're watching this video right now, I'm positive that you have some goal and purpose in mind that you probably have already put effort into doing. Do yourself a favor, get this course right now, and start understanding and using the characteristics that are gonna get you to that goal. All right, if you have any comments or questions, I would love to hear them. You can comment right down here in the space below. All right? Thank you.